وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Welcome everybody from around the world. My name is Al Abdul Kareem, and this is the BAK show wherein we discuss the issues which are important to you, issues that are pertaining to the Muslim world. Of course, I am your host, Bilal Abdul Kareem, and I'm coming at you live. Brothers and sisters, we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to need to talk about here today. Very important stuff. We've got of course, we've got the issues taking place in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank. We've also got issues wherein we're going to be discussing in the Syrian territories. Will Ahmed Shara and the new government in Damascus join the Abraham Accords? We're going to be discussing that. Is there any truth or validity to those claims? We're going to talk about that. In addition to that, I'm going to probably take some questions and some comments about what's going on between India and Pakistan. So we're going to be talking about all of these issues. We want to invite you to send in your questions, your comments, and or your concerns. Okay. After said that, brothers and sisters, before we get started, I need your help. Look, guys, I want to just put this up here. And I want you to take a look at our crowdfunding page. Now, this is medina.com/voices of truth. Now, on this project that we're working on, a project heading, we are documenting the atrocities which were committed by the Essedim, and we need your help. We cannot allow time to wipe the crimes committed by the Assad regime. We are going from place to place interviewing who had family members who were displaced, those who were incarcerated. We're interviewing men, women, people whose parents just never came home again. We need to be able to get these stories out. We need to give voices to these people whose voices were taken away for so long, but we can't do it without your help. We need your help. If you can help us out with $5, $10, $50, $100, you could use it, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, it's not without your help going to be one very difficult project. We're going to be banging on with this project, and visit our crowdfunding page. That's Medina, MADNAH.com /voicesoftruth.com/voices of truth. And we are going to be hoping for some assistance from you, brothers and sisters. Okay. Now, let's take a look and let's see what's going to what's out there. First of all, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. Do we want to jump right into the questions? Because I think we're going to be into a lot of this stuff during the question and comment section there. Okay. Let's take a look at this first one here. If you remember a couple of weeks back, I asked if you see Syria normalizing. It seems like a reality now. How do you see Syrians accepting this? All right. The first issue is that, do I imagine that they're going to normalize with Israel? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. The reason why we're doing some of these programs and some of the reports we're doing is because we need to help the Syrian people to understand what's happening. I think, and Syrians are hearing about it. There's no question about it. But I really have to be honest with you. I'm not sure if they're completely understanding the ramifications which might be on the table. This is the first thing. The second thing is that they are struggling big time with the economic situation. Many of the criminals from the Assad are still roaming free, and they're demonstrating about that. So there's a lot on the Syrian plate right now. And we want to make sure that they understand what's going on in real time so they can make decisions in terms of where they want to go with this. Um, that's our job, to help them to understand, not to shape their opinion, but to help them to understand what's taking. And this is very, very important to us. Now, do I think that they will normalize with Syria? Well, you had two congressmen that went to go and visit the Shara just about 5 days ago, who's the new president of Syria. And it was Marlon Stutzman from Indiana and Corey Mills from Florida. Now, these two are very, very, very pro-Israel. For example, Stutzman that Israel is a true friend. But it goes deeper when you get into Corey, because Corey Mills actually said some wild stuff regarding the what's taking place in the Gaza Strip. Now, we've got tens of thousands of people which have been killed in Gaza. And what did he say? Quote, what the mainstream media is saying about indiscriminate fire and the actors. I mean, you literally have paid actors who are pretending to be killed. End quote. This is what Corey Mills, who went to go and visit Ahmed al-Shara, said. He basically said that they were paid actors. In other words, the people who are not being killed in Palestine, or they're not being killed, that is reported in the mainstream media, which is totally, utterly ridiculous. But it also shows what their political stances are. Now, I am not saying that they should have been. Oh, it's worth mentioning that both of them are AIPAC candidates to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars for each candidate. Now, I am not saying because these people are pro-Israel that Ahmed al-Shara meet with them. I'm saying that I think that it's important that he meet everybody whom he might think might be able to come out with a positive outcome for the Syrian people. After having said that, let's talk about what was said after the meetings, because that's where the whole crux of this whole thing. Now, Stutzman basically said after the meeting, where he said, my hope is that a strong government is established in Syria that is supportive of the people of Syria, and the people of Syria support the government. Sounds nice. And that the relationship between Israel and Syria can be a strong relationship. I think that's possible, really. Now, that's what was stated by Stutzman. For another quote here. This is what he stated after the meeting. Now, I don't understand how he could make a statement like that. But first of all, you're talking about relations with Israel, Muslim Syria, and you're not calling for the stop of the genocide taking place in the Palestinians. The Syrian people are not going to go for that. But maybe he's not talking about the Syrian people. Okay. I'm only stating what, and he is saying that he's hoping for better relations with Israel. I thought he came from America. Why is he so concerned about Israel? Oh, I'm sorry, I digress. America and Israel are one and the same. Let's continue. Now, we've got Corey Mills, and he said, quote, he, meaning Ahmed al-Shara, said he was open to joining the Abraham Accord, quote, under the right conditions, end quote. Now, this is what Corey Mills said. Now, I can't verify authenticity of what he said, but I can say that it is upon Ahmed al-Shara government to either distance themselves from these statements, or now these statements were made several days ago. We haven't heard any of confirmation or condemnation of these statements, so we'll have to wait just a little while longer. There's going to be any type of word from the Shara government. But for those people who don't know the Abraham Accord, this is an agreement which was signed during the last Trump administration, wherein Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Sudan signed an agreement normalizing relations with the Israelis. Now, what does that mean in real time? A lot of different things, but one of the things that it means is that it legitimizes the um, the government of Israel and the state of Israel, and by default, it legitimizes the land that they stole from Palestinians. Okay, now you can see why a lot of people are up in arms saying, hey, what is Ahmed Shara doing? And once again, I didn't say he's doing it. I'm just saying is that these are the statements that are coming out of the meetings of the people who he met with. And we would love to hear from him to see what took place during those days. So, to answer the question, do I think that they're going to normalize relations with Israel? I don't think so. I think it's going to be too politically costly for them to do that. Allah knows best. Let's take a look and see next question here. Let's see. What do you think about the situation between Pakistan and India? Will a war start between the two countries? Some people say Afghanistan and Iran will be on India's side. What do you think of that? I I think you can forget about Afghanistan being on the Indian side. Totally forget about that. They would probably, knowing Taliban, abstain rather than join the Indian side. It's not in their strategic interest, nor their religious interest. And I have to say one thing: you could say what you want about the Taliban, they are religious people. And for them to help the Hindu nationalist state, which have been persecuting the Muslims for a long time now, particularly even more under the Moody administration, is a scenario I don't see at all happening. No. Iran, who knows? I really couldn't tell you about Iran. They do a lot of things. They are not pro-Sunni Muslim, and that part is crystal clear. So let's wait and see what's going to happen there. Do I think that there's going to be a war two sides? I don't think so. Not at this time. Skirmishes, yes. Full-blown war, no. I don't see it like that. It appears that there's some agenda on the Indian side because they have taken quite some big steps here. They've ordered out the Pakistanis from their country within 48 hours. In addition to that, they are mobilizing military assets. The Pakistanis have basically said that they are willing to defend their territory. And I saw an extremely bizarre interview on, I think it was Sky News. I saw it just a few minutes ago, where the defense minister of Pakistan, the interviewer, the journalist asked him, do you deny that the Pakistani government has been arming and aiding financially, abetting certain terrorist organizations? Of course, I was expecting him to say the ceremonial no, but he didn't say that. He said, well, we've been doing this for the Americans and for the Brits for 30 years. I was like, what the heck? Dude, what the heck is wrong with you? The first thing is, okay, well, now where are the Americans and where are the Brits at right now? When are the Pakistanis wake up and decide that you are a sovereign nation? You need to have policies that reflect that you have sovereign territory. Oh, wait a minute, you don't have sovereign territory. Maybe you sold it to Washington going back to 9/11 and 2000 under the Musharraf administration. And things just started to change when you had Imran Khan. May Allah free him from prison. Ameen. But then it went right back down with the new administration. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen here. But it looks bad for Pakistan. They don't have the moral high ground. They are not a religious governed country like Afghanistan. it's going to be difficult because the Hindu nationalists with their beliefs, no matter how whacked out their beliefs actually are, and I will be honest with you, I see that their beliefs are quite. They they do some really silly things and all, eating cow dung and things. I don't think that's anyway, that's another topic. Anyway, the point of the matter here is that they will though fight with their belief system, no matter how warped we may believe that it actually is, and we believe that. But the Pakistanis, they don't seem to have settled themselves with their Islam from a government standpoint. That's real, brothers and sisters, and Allah knows best. Okay, let's take a look and see what else do we have here. Okay, we've got here, we've got Muhammad who says, I feel that Joe is setting conditions for his own downfall. Manny, I think he's got to understand that he can't win without the Syrian people. And he's going to have to start showing the Syrian people some more respect. I think that certain issues need to be addressed that are not being addressed. I'm talking about when things are happening in the country, for example, meeting with the U.S. officials. Now, I get his meeting with them, and that's not a problem. You can't get up there talking about no Abraham Accords when you've got a genocide going on just a few kilometers in that direction. I don't think I don't know if he said that. I don't even know if he actually said that, but he actually has to come up and then say what the heck actually going on, and that hasn't been taking place. And I think that that's a big misstep in his dealing with things, and Allah Subhanahu wa Taala knows best. Next question that we have up here, and I'm sorry everybody, we're not working from our normal setup. Yes, will Russia and China stand with Iran in case of an attack from Israel and the U.S.? That very good question. If that were to happen, you'd be talking about World War III now. But do I think initially Russia and China will militarily stand with Iran? I don't see that happening right now. No, I'm not seeing the military assets being moved at this time. We hear statements of support, but it hasn't gone past that. Now, there's a saying that says victory loves preparation. And Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, they understand what preparation would mean to a victory. And we would see more military assets being moved at this time, particularly when it wouldn't take a lot for America to start a war with Iran, which I don't think the Americans do right now. I think that would be too costly at the moment. The rhetoric, I'm sure Netanyahu would love that, but I don't see that going to happen at this particular time. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala knows best. So, do I think Russia and China would jump in? I would tell you, it would depend upon how good or bad Iran would fare in the initial phases of that war. They will not support them from the start. But if it looks like they've got something there and they're able to hold their own, they might jump. And Allah knows best. I don't. These type of situations don't usually start off so much support until they can actually see that the Iranians militarily have something. So far, we hear a lot of chit chat and talk from the Iranians about what they got and what they can do, but we ain't seen it yet. I mean, at the end of the day, they launched last year in 2024 380 projectiles into the Israeli territory. territories. And we're talking about in the form of rockets and in the form of missiles, in the form of drones. And there were 200 sent in at one point in the spring, and another point in the late summer, if my memory serves, late summer, early fall. And they didn't kill a single Israeli. They didn't kill a single Israeli. They only killed one person, and it was a Palestinian. Oh, how did that happen? It's very interesting how the Iranians have such aim when it comes to killing Sunni Muslims here in Syria, but they can't see a single Israeli in Israeli territory. You have to figure out exactly what that means. All right. Okay, let's take a look and see what else we have here. There were reports of Palestinian Islamic jihadists being arrested in Syria. Some people say the USA is pushing the Syrian government on this in exchange for lifting sanctions. Do you agree? All right. There were 2 individuals who were arrested, and that includes the person responsible for Palestinian Islamic Jihad in operations or a coordinator here in Syria. This took place, this must be going back 6 or 7 days ago. So yes, it is confirmed that they were arrested by the Ahmed al-Shara new administration in Damascus. Okay, but then we heard statements that were saying that it was probably due to individual problems with the government. Maybe some crime was committed or something along those lines, and that it was not something that would affect Palestinian Islamic Jihad's relationship with the new government. Now, after having said all of that, I'm not here and tell you that the American, absolutely, it's the Americans who are putting them up to that, because that would show absolute violence by the Ahmed al-Shara government. And I'm not going to be prepared to come out and say that. But I am going to say with all clarity that we're going to need to see more engagement between the government and the people. We understand that Ahmed Shara's government was not an elected government, and therefore they may not feel that they are so accountable to public opinion. But I am saying that, Ahmed Shara met with the United Arab Emirates, who are very anti-Hamas. Actually went so far as to blame Hamas for a lot of what's going on in the Palestinian territories. They're very anti-Hamas. And he met with them several days before the arrest. The day before the arrest, he met with Mahmoud Abbas, who came out and called Hamas sons of dogs, when they are the only force that's opposing the genocide in the Gaza Strip. He called them sons of dogs and just told them, why don't you just give the hostages, and basically blaming. He was elected in 2004, his end in 2009. It's 2025 and the cat is still there. So, and he hasn't done anything. You've got the settlers that are out there on his territory. And have you heard any type of response from Mahmoud Abbas and his security forces? Zero, nada, nothing yet. This guy is a total bum and a loser. So I'm saying to you, I digress. The point of the matter here is that we go back to the question that America's putting them up to it. I'm not going to be prepared to come out and tell you that, because I don't have that fact. But I am going to say we need more from the Ahmed Shara government in terms of what is taking place. Why were these 2 individuals arrested? Why haven't we heard anything from them? No, we need to hear more. I think if he wants the support of the Syrian people. And I'm not just talking about in hearts and minds. We're going to talk about a lot of other issues that the Syrian people are going to be needed. So I'd like to see Ahmed Shara's government be more engaging with the people, addressing some of the things that are on the table. Seen that yet? Hopefully we will in coming days, inshallah ta'ala. Now, okay, we've here who said that Julani is a paid actor. No, I don't like that kind of thing. Look, we might differ with Abu Muhammad Jolani, and all. I'm not gonna go there and call him Julani and make those assertions. I think you shouldn't either. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala knows best. Next, we've got Assalamu alaikum, Bilal Abdul Kareem. My congratulations to Syrians for the departure of U.S. international coalition occupation forces. However, they might try to secure interest before leaving. All right, brother, let me give this to you straight. One of the conditions that Trump's administration were purported to have put forward to the Ahmed Shara government is as follows: that counterterrorism agents, operatives, would be allowed to operate within Syrian territory. That was one of the conditions purported to have been put forward to the Ahmed Shara government for a partial lifting of sanctions. I'm going to tell it to you straight, and I'm not going to hold this back. U.S. counterterrorism operatives are the same as having Israeli terrorism operatives. They're the same thing. America and Israel are one entity. They're not two. So if you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to get partial sanctions being lifted, we're going to have U.S. Forces operating within Syrian territory. It's the same thing as having operating inside the Syrian territory, because they're all sharing intelligence information. Period. Everybody's got to understand that dynamic. There are not two entities, meaning America and Israel. They're one and the same. So caution and encourage the Ahmed Shara government not to accept condition under any circumstances. Bearing in mind that the partial lifting of the sanctions is not a full lifting of the sanctions. That's the first thing. Second thing is the Americans will never allow Syria financially, militarily, or socially to regain its footing and to grow strong. I'm not saying that they can't do it. Actually, I'm saying the Syrians can do it. Special people, I believe in Allah knows best. The Prophet ﷺ spoke highly of the people of Shem. However, the Americans will fight it, as my mother used to say, and nail step by step. So allowing U.S. forces into the territories of Syria so that they can operate counterterrorism, forget it. The counterterrorism means anything that is against Israeli interests. So we've got to understand the terminology here, and Allah knows best. Alrighty. All right, let's take a look and see. We've got here, I'm an Afghan Pakistani and I would support Islam and Kashmiri Muslims, but not India, nor the opportunistic Zionist Pakistani state. I hear you, brother. I don't have a problem with anything that you just said, and I'm with you on that. I hope and I pray to Allah that the government of Pakistan gets replaced. They haven't done anything for the people, and they don't work for the interests of the Pakistani people, in my estimation. However, I'm certainly not going to be cheering for the Moody at all. But Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has a way of bringing about different outcomes that we could never ever expect. and Allah knows best. Okay, um, we're gonna take one more, and it says here, Muslim leaders of today have no backbone. In general, you are right, brother. In general, you are right. There are some are better than others, but in general, what you're saying is right. Everybody has this defeatist mentality. Oh, America's so strong, we can't do anything. We're too weak. We've been spending the dollars on advanced weaponry. Don't tell me that we're too weak. We need Muslim leaders who are going to step up to the plate and say, yo, this is going on over there in Gaza. We ain't having it. We ain't having it. And if you want to fight, then we just on. But we also have to take one other thing into context also. It's not just limited to the governments, it's also the people. Are the Muslim people willing to fight for their brothers and sisters? Or are they only willing to fight for economic reasons or for nationalistic reasons? That's a very, very important question that the Muslim people need to answer. Brothers and sisters, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to be picking this up again. Once again, I want to, or not caution, but invite everybody to please visit our crowdfunding page at medina.com/truth. We are working on a project which I am heading, wherein we are giving a voice to the Syrian who were voiceless for so long. These are people whose family members disappeared into Essed's dungeons. They are people who were living under of the Essed administration, and what life was like will be brought to you from their own mouths through interviews, which we are conducting, but we need your help, brothers and sisters. Please do financially support us. Some people have been able to do that. Alhamdulillah, we have started the project. We are up and running, but we can't continue without your help. Medina.com/voice of truth. I am your host, Bilal Abdul Kareem. Jazakumullah khair. We'll catch you next time. Assalamu alaikum.